comedy.
Hello, you mind movers. Welcome to Moving Mind Studio. I'm joined by Ryan George, Brandon Calder, I'm Sam, and today we're talking about video games based on movies. Let's start by just clearing things up. We are not talking about video games that have become movies, so we're not talking Resident Evil, Silent Hill, all that stuff. Sorry if you got confused. We are talking about the opposite. Video games that were made based off of movies.
Yes.
Now, I was thinking about it, it's a good demographic to grab, really, because if people are going to spend their time watching movies, then those could be the people that are playing video games, so hey, why not make movies?
Losers.
But they're not all that great. There are some good ones.
Yes.
There are some really, really bad ones, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about all of them this week. First, I want to ask you guys, do you have any stories or memories of playing video games that were based off of movies? Whoa. Either you just realized how to breathe.
I was holding my breath the whole time. No, you can go. I have nothing. I have two specific ones. Two memories.
Oh, sorry. I just
No, trust me. There's going to be a lot of this.
Yeah.
Nostalgia's going to kick in. Even you guys watching are going to be like, "Oh, I remember that game."
I know you're gonna name.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
I know.
You might know one of them. Okay, number one.
It's animated.
No, it's not that one. It's not the one. No.
Okay.
So I used to have they used to have these discs that was like PlayStation demo discs, and there was a demo for I think like Spider-Man the video game, and I played that all the time, and it was fucking
What
amazing.
console?
What?
Like PS1 or PS2.
Okay.
And then I bought Spider-Man 2 on PS2, and it was one of the best games ever. It was like open world Spider-Man. It was incredible.
Yeah, they had a lot of those.
And then the other one is this was like my first online gaming experience where you had to like plug in the cable to the modem. Star Wars Battlefront 2 I would play all the time on PlayStation 2. It was so fucking
So you mentioned Spider-Man, but was it Spider-Man? Because there are comic books.
Yeah.
I think that was before the movie.
Spider-Man 2 was based on the movie.
There you go.
Okay. But the older Spider-Man was
like,
just straight up Spider-Man.
Yeah. So we're actually going to talk about those two specific games that you mentioned later on. So I'm really glad that you mentioned them. Can you think of any?
Yes. I can think of a few. Well, Lion King.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was going to mention that one too.
Lion King was
on
like...
Genesis.
Yeah.
What a fucking great game
So
that
good,
was. So good, but so hard. But so good. And Home Alone.
Home Alone.
There was a Home Alone video game?
Yes.
On NES?
I think it was on NES.
It Super Nintendo? It was NES.
I think it was NES. The one where you're like, I don't know if there was one or two of them, but you're going through a hotel and you have to like jump over like a vacuum cleaner.
That's
and
the
then
second
you have to,
one.
Okay. I think that's the one I played. I don't know if I played the first one, but it was amazing. It was so good.
So, Lion King was... I knew someone was going to...
Yeah, of course. The game was amazing.
That was like our childhood.
Yeah.
I love that.
And side by side with Lion King was Aladdin.
Yes, Aladdin was great too.
On Genesis.
Yes.
I never played that.
Oh, man. Aladdin's great too.
That was up there.
We need to leave right now and go play.
So what do you... let's do it. I think I have a Genesis here, by the way. And I think I have Aladdin.
Wow.
Well,
we're going to make your night tonight.
Wrap this up.
What do you guys think makes a great video game based off of a movie?
Man.
What does the video game have to entail that makes you go like, this was a great game?
Dude, I think like it has to be... I don't know why I started like dude.
Yeah. Dude, like you're really going to fucking tell him.
Dude, like, listen up.
Dude.
What is this? What I dude. I think it has to be a great game, even if you take out the movie elements.
Yeah.
Like Lion King would have been a fucking fantastic platformer, even if it wasn't Little Simba. But it added so much to it to have.
But it didn't really relate to the movie.
Yes, it did.
Well,
I remember just swinging trees a lot, and then like there was that. I don't remember.
They jumped
like
on giraffe heads.
They jumped on the giraffe heads.
They did that in the movie.
But there wasn't like it wasn't the story of.
Yeah, it was the growing up of Simba, and he was going to defeat Scar.
Yeah, okay. But okay.
It's about the
okay.
stampede is coming through. That, by the way, level could never get past.
Yeah,
I'm gonna admit it. That stampede, because like the graphics of like wildebeest coming at you, and you're like trying to figure out where to go, left or right, and I
the
could
music
never.
like dun, 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 dun.
And then you had to. Then there were rocks coming. They would flash that a rock is coming. And you had to jump over the rock, and I was like, "There's too many things going on here." It was so difficult when you know that it's kids playing this game.
Yeah. Video games back then, period, were a lot harder than games now.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I went back to play certain games, like, I don't even know how I beat this as a kid. They're so hard.
You wouldn't have, like Lion King, you didn't have save points. You just had a certain number of lives.
Exactly.
And then
you die, that's it.
Start over.
Exactly.
Yeah. You didn't have loading saved data. That was a no-no back then. So it's just like...
I passed the stampede once, but I had like 0 lives left, so I died immediately on the next one.
You're like, oh, this is what the next level... And you're
dead.
gone.
Like, I'm never going to see that again.
I don't know if I ever even made it to the stampede, but it was still a great game.
Yeah, jumping on the... When you had to like... You had to bark at monkeys to turn them. And then that's where you figured out where they would throw you.
Yeah.
And then you had to figure that whole thing out, or else they would throw you down and you'd have to restart. So I narrowed it down. I did a lot of research, and there's 3 ways that a game can be created from a movie, right? They tend to follow the same kind of paths. So either you play a game that's the exact same thing as the movie, so you know exactly what's going on, what's going to happen, kind of like Lion King in a way where it's like, you know, Simba's going to grow old, you know that Mufasa's going to die in the stampede and all that. Also, there was Star Wars Episode 1, which is basically just like the movie. You play out the movie exactly as it's going. Then it can... I also... Aladdin as well. You're basically reliving scenes from the movie. And it can be good or bad depending on the gameplay. So I didn't want to touch on this game yet, but I am going to. GoldenEye, for instance, had great gameplay. But you did go through scenes in the movie of GoldenEye, but because it was actually one of like the game that revolutionized first person shooters.
Yeah, it is.
That is like what started the whole thing. And I think that having that aspect, someone was like, hey, why don't we just do it like from the eyes of James Bond shooting people? They did it a smart way, which actually worked and was interesting enough that people could replay. The second way is there are games that have no similarities whatsoever. They just have the marketing aspect of let's name this as the game title. I was looking at clips today from Jaws. They made Jaws the game, and it's literally you're like swimming down and picking up shells.
As the shark?
As a person.
Okay.
But then eventually, like when the shark comes, you have to go in your boat and you're dropping bombs in the water to like kill the shark. It makes no sense whatsoever. And I mean, and then there's Friday the 13th on NES where it's like you go around and you're lighting fireplaces up, and then when you find Jason, it's like a Mike Tyson Punch Out type of thing. It was just like
that's so weird.
It doesn't make sense. And the third type, which I think is well, I know it's my personal favorite, is you live a completely new experience in the world of the game. The game's like it. You're in that aspect of it, but it adds more. Sometimes they create new movies with video games. This I found out when playing like Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters, the video game, not previous Ghostbuster installments, but like where you're a new recruit, and then they're like, hey, you're going to be a Ghostbuster. And it's cool. I'm a Ghostbuster. I remember Dan Aykroyd was... you didn't like the game?
That was like on PS2 or something. PS3. I played it for like 5 minutes. I'm like, I don't like this.
Really?
Yeah. Was it actually good? You liked it?
I loved it.
You're a huge Ghostbusters fan.
I did. Like, so doesn't that mean that I took it more personally? That it had to be good? And like Dan Aykroyd in an interview said that this is basically the third movie.
Really?
Consider this as like the third movie. He like helped with the script. They did, original cast members came as the voices, and it takes place. Excuse me. I have a cold.
I'm saying. Okay.
Poor baby.
It was such a good game. It takes place 2 years after the second movie.
Okay.
But then, of course, Ghostbusters 2016 came along and all that and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, the fact that you were a new recruit in the thing, I think that's cool. It's making you live another life. You were talking about Battlefront.
Yeah. That was
you become
amazing.
A character in the world of Star Wars. And like you do get to go into the eyes of Darth Vader and like...
Yeah, you could be a Jedi once in a while.
But
you're... A lot of the time, you're just like a stormtrooper.
Exactly. And you get to live in the world in its real
even
kind
like,
of life.
You just made me think of the Godfather video game. I don't know if you guys ever played that. You would create your character and like his appearance and everything, and you would like start as like a low level dude, and you'd make your way through like you'd interact with like the Corleones.
And
stuff.
The
It's
Godfather
fucking cool.
was on some lists of like best video games that they made.
Really?
It was
Yeah.
really good, dude. It was really
That's some
good.
gaming to play.
And there was also Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh, yeah.
I never played it, but it appeared on so many lists of the best
Really?
video games based on movies. It served as a prequel to the Chronicles of Riddick.
Wow.
And apparently, like, not only is the story fantastic, but they were saying Vin Diesel's voice acting is
great.
just off the hook, and it was
Really?
amazing.
You just used Off the Hook. That's cool.
Off the hook.
Yeah.
It's like grabbing a new shirt off the hook.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say. I think I don't know if you're gonna talk about this, but like nowadays they try to do that, but it's never good. And the reason why I think that it's never good now is because things are so rushed with video games when they're trying to get them to come out the same time as a movie does. So they have these crazy deadlines they can never meet, and the games are always garbage. Like I can't name a video game based on a movie recently that was really good.
Yeah, notice
There's
how
none.
all our examples
from
are
old
like,
back in the
fucking
day.
PS2.
Well-
and there's still they still do it. It's just they're garbage.
Sometimes I feel like actors have signed on in their contract also to do a
Like to
game
be-
because they're
possibly,
trying to do
yeah.
it. Because there are some bad video games that are just based off of bad movies. Catwoman, the Halle Berry movie,
Oh my god.
is on almost all the lists of the worst video games
And
based on
movies.
movies.
That's awful.
Does
Yeah.
Halle Berry do the voice?
She does the voice,
Wow.
and it's a horrible. I like listen to clips, and it's just disgusting. And so they're like, what can she base? Like, how can you base a video game on a really bad movie?
Yeah. That's the thing. I think. Sorry to cut you off. But I think that's the thing is that they start the game before the movie comes out. So if the movie's shit, it does shit. It's too late. They
Yeah,
have
it's
the
too
game
late
coming
because they've
out
already
either
started
way,
to
yeah.
make it.
Do you guys? You just made me think of like actors being signed on to have to do like video games and stuff. You guys remember we were at the Toronto YouTube space with Candace and James from Edgy Veg, and there was like the Divergent series VR experience.
Yeah.
And like Shailene Woodley is in the VR
Yeah,
experience as
yeah.
like a video game character, and
Yeah.
her performance is so phoned in. She's like,
Yeah.
you gotta look for a computer.
Yeah.
It's true. Like you do not want to be here.
Yeah, that was just
So bad.
And then one thing I found out that like helps the redundancy of like games where like kind of like GoldenEye. So I'm talking GoldenEye specifically. What they did to help their game to not be bad is also like the fact that you can replay levels, and there was like different challenges. So it's like if you beat the game in under 2 minutes and 5 seconds, you got the cheat code for invincibility.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And it's like,
Right,
they
yeah.
created like easy, medium, hard levels to say that you can continue playing the game, but with a harder difficulty. Do you guys ever like replay games in a harder difficulty?
No, unless exactly what you said. Unless you can get something really cool.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
Yeah.
unlocking
Yeah.
stuff is the only way that I would want to replay a game because I'm like curious how it's gonna happen.
I really miss the days of cheat codes. Like they
Dude, yeah.
don't do
Yeah.
that anymore.
Yeah, I loved
and it was
cheat codes.
amazing. Yeah, that's a cool. If I can beat a game just to get a cheat code, I would play again. Like just
Yeah.
it was cool.
Same.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's even like movies try to branch out into different aspects to try to get different demographics to play their games. Like we were talking Star Wars, right? Like Star Wars had Star Wars 4, 5, and 6 on NES games, but then they went to like on N64, they did the pod racing game.
Yeah, those were fucking awesome.
So it's like
I was gonna talk about those.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, hey, we can make a racing game based off of just one scene of our movie.
Yeah.
Why not? And it did pretty well. I thought it was a pretty cool game when I played it.
I had like a Star Wars just fighting game where it was like Street Fighter almost on PS1. Yeah, it was so much fun. You'd play as like Luke Skywalker, and then you'd fight Darth Vader, and everyone had their special. And it was so cool. They branched off into so many different things.
That's cool.
Even like the Lion King had so many. I had this game that was just called Lion King Burper, and it was basically you were Pumbaa. And there was like things falling, and you would burp.
Yeah, I remember that.
I
remember that.
And there was another one where you were Timon and you had to jump
Yeah.
across a river. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I miss those like little. I guess now they have those as like apps, right?
Yeah,
you'll have
exactly.
like I don't know, something runner.
little mini games on your phone,
Yeah.
which is, the way that technology is heading.
I mean, I just think it's because now, like, console games have to be so over the top now. Like, there's no more like simple hard games anymore. Like, and those, like you said, are apps usually.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, people don't make those anymore.
But like, so those games that they're forcing people to pay $60 for, are usually like there has to be a shit ton of people working on it, and then like they don't have the time, like you said, so it turns out shit, and nobody likes it. Like, I don't know if they make enough money to justify still making those. Do people like, I don't get it.
I don't know.
I would not be able to. I don't know.
You get someone in
I don't
here
know.
to talk about
Maybe
it.
you can let us know.
Yeah.
I actually had a question when I was going over everything. It was like, do you think a movie-based game can like have the power to create a gamer out of someone? Where it's like, let's say you don't play video games, right? But you really liked watching Lord of the Rings, and then they're like, hey, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, and you're like, oh,
of course.
Hey, I'm gonna go play this video game because I loved the movie. I'm curious to know if there's anyone out there who was like, because I was playing video games before I got into those, like no matter what. But it's like, do you think people like?
I'm sure. Sure. I think I'm going back. We talked about it a lot already, but GoldenEye was such a big game, and it was based off James Bond, and I think a lot of people must have played that just because of that, especially the fact that it was a huge new way of doing things, a first-person shooter thing. So for sure, there's a lot of people who started playing that game because of
or like they played
movie,
the game and then like without even realizing like, oh, this is like I didn't even see GoldenEye. This is an amazing game to play.
There was a Lord of the Rings video game that I remember. It was marketed because you could unlock like cast interviews and stuff. You could unlock.
See, that's cool.
It was like special content, and the game itself would like play parts of the movie, and then there would be like a transition of the exact same thing but in video game graphics, and you would just start playing. It would pick up from exactly where the movie was, and it was pretty cool. It was and I only got that because I liked the movie. Like, I wanted to play that game unless it had that stuff.
Yeah. Well, like speaking of the Lord of the Rings games, I actually enjoyed playing that game more than I did watching the movie.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I found that I felt more immersed into the world, and it was like I felt better getting like involved in it and like actually having to do stuff than to sit on my couch and watch the long.
You get to like join the battle and stuff. And
which one? Because there's a few games I don't remember.
The one I remember playing was Two Towers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the same one. I remember it was the one where there's those giant elephants.
Yes. That game was amazing.
It was really cool.
That game was so good. Okay, that's the one I played.
I feel like everyone played that game
No
somehow.
One.
I've never
spoken to
anyone.
I've played it.
There's also like an MMORPG or whatever it's called. I forget what it's called. Helm's Deep, maybe. But people play it online. You have your character and you build it up and stuff.
I actually want to talk about a fun fact because I was looking at lists of the best and the worst in different stories, and what tops the list of worst game ever based on a movie is actually one of the very first games to ever come out, and that's E.T. the Extraterrestrial in 1982 on the Atari 2600.
Okay. Wow.
This game was so bad. Like, I watched gameplay videos, and the graphics are so bad that you randomly fall into pits. And you don't know how to get out. And like, as soon as you get out, you fall back into it.
Wow.
People were so angered by this game that they returned the game.
Wow.
And there were so many returns that there was an overabundance of stock in the company.
Wow.
And it caused them to go, hold on, I have the exact number here. No, I didn't write it for some reason. Anyway, they refused to buy the game. The unsold stock affected their profits, and it caused the demise of the Atari console as a whole.
What?
And actually caused the entire video game industry to crash a little bit.
Fuck E.T.
Real fuck. Wow. I didn't know that was that.
At what point a movie-based video game? But I was also reading that it was like like you said, they didn't have time to work on it. They just wanted to release it because the movie was coming out. So they were like, "Who E.T. game?"
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't even look like E.T. It's like a
the letter
green
C with a belly.
Yeah, it's a green alien that can like move his head up, and it's just it's.
What's
you're playing with?
He's like getting Reese's Pieces or something.
If you to gain life, you get Reese's Pieces. But the aim of the game is to find parts to make a phone, so you could phone home.
That's ridiculous.
So like,
phone,
you can tell the video game developers were like, okay, how do we do this?
Yeah.
Well, he's ET phone
wants a
home
phone
is like
home.
the big
Yeah.
big line, so he
the
has to
phone.
build a phone.
So stupid.
What?
Like, yeah.
Another game that jogged my nostalgia was Batman Forever on SNES, which is funny because like you look at the Arkham games today, they're not based on movies.
No,
like they're doing
incredible.
very well on their own
Yeah,
as
their
just
own
being
thing.
in their own world.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, let me look at the Batman games that were based off of movies. It was
They're so
horrible.
bad. Yeah,
it was
yeah.
actually, what is cool about it is that it's it's people,
Okay.
like it's actual people that are moving.
Okay.
And then you have like certain like movements to do. It doesn't
Is
look
was it on
fake.
Sega CD?
It was on Super Nintendo.
Okay. Okay. I don't know.
But then when I looked at who made the game, it was Acclaim, and Acclaim made Mortal Kombat. And so you remember how Mortal Kombat was? How it was like pictures of people.
Oh,
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
you mean. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
exactly like a Mortal Kombat
Okay.
game, and the moves are actually
So,
very
like-
Mortal Kombat game. So it's like
Yeah.
a left to right movement.
Yeah.
But then you're
Oh.
just like Batman is his like pose is this.
I remember.
And he's just like he's walking
That's
and he's just like
amazing.
turning and does that. And you have Robin that's
Yeah.
always next to you. And so you have to like defeat Two-Face and then you defeat the Riddler. But there's like
I played a game like a Batman game like that, but I liked it as a kid. I don't know if it was that.
It might have
one.
been that.
Yeah.
might have been that. But it's just like it's got to be hard to create those games because
Yeah.
you only have a certain amount of like data that you can input into this game, and it's like
Yeah.
you can like throw a punch, throw a kick,
yeah.
and then you have like special
Yeah.
weapons or whatnot that you can use. But
Yeah.
like some people were pissed because up was to like you sometimes you had to grapple things to go up, but when you push the up button, you would jump. But to grapple,
I played that game.
okay?
Yeah.
So then
I
to
remember
actually to do the
that.
grapple, you have to push select and up. But in
Yeah.
a certain way to grapple, or else if you push up too soon, you jump.
Yes, I remember
That's
that
stupid.
game.
I was watching a review on the game, and this guy was just so pissed off because I think it was the Angry Video Game Nerd actually,
wow.
which has amazing videos. Whereas like, why didn't you just assign one of the buttons, one of the 4 buttons to be a jump,
Someone
so that
brought it
up
up.
can help you like do that
Yeah.
thing. Anyway, I had a big thing about Ghostbusters as well, about the
Yeah.
games, how it started on the Atari, and how evolution of games are crazy. Just the fact that there's one movie, Ghostbusters, and they created so many games around it, but that they're always like either doing really well, like Ghostbusters the video game,
Yeah.
but then flopping. And I found out there was a Ghostbusters 2016 video game that was based after the female version
Yes,
movie
I
that came
remember
out.
seeing the trailer for
And I
that.
watched it. I watched some gameplay, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
Really?
It doesn't even involve the cast. The story starts out, the cast is called to Washington to help out the president. So there's 4 new recruits.
Yeah.
2 guys, 2
Yeah.
girls, and and it looks so comic-y, and it just got
Yeah.
negative reviews all around because it was that bad.
remember that.
But then I saw recently like a VR experience where you go in and you become a Ghostbuster.
That's cool.
And so it made me
That's
realize,
cool,
like,
yeah.
the future of technology, what is coming up for gaming, and like how you get to become characters. And it leads to like the earlier when I said the best is when you live a new experience in a life.
Yeah.
And like there was Star Wars VR as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Where
Where
you
you,
do
just
that.
have a
That
lightsaber
was
and
like
someone shooting
one of
at
the
you from
greatest
far.
experiences I've ever
Oh, you did that
had.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It's like you felt it just like picking up the lightsaber for the first time. Like you just felt like
The power.
Like I watch other people play the game, and as soon as you had like the lightsaber in your hand, like your posture just changes.
Yeah, you're like,
you just
I
feel
am a Jedi now.
Yeah. which is fucking cool.
It's amazing.
And so it leaves open to like what is next and what is, and think about multiplayer games in VR, how that's gonna, like, you're gonna be a Jedi
Yeah.
fighting with other
yeah.
Jedi,
That'd be
and
cool.
it's like my mind is blowing to be like
Yeah,
what
yeah.
video games are gonna you know
Yeah, I'm
take-
not gonna.
I think VR is gonna save that, like you said. I think
Yeah.
it's gonna save that movie
Yeah,
to video
yeah.
game
The
thing.
more and more, like, they're just releasing VR experiences
Yeah,
right now because the
exactly,
game
yeah,
technology
yeah.
isn't amazing.
Yeah.
Where it's like mini games, but once it gets good,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like you'll just be
Yeah.
in
and
the
like
movie.
I'm thinking this, but like games that weren't that great because there was exactly the same movie. If you are in VR and it's like very cinematic reality, and
Yeah.
you're reliving the game as
Yeah.
like maybe just a side character
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that, like it could be really fun.
Cool. Yeah.
And like just even multiplayer games as a whole, with that, like GoldenEye revolutionized the multiplayer game.
Yeah.
And coming up, like there's a new Friday the 13th game where it's like someone is Jason
Yeah.
and the other
And
people
that's
are
cool.
the victims, but they're trying to save themselves and all that. Anyway, I'm excited about the future
Clearly.
of video game technology, see where it's going to go.
Yeah.
But I know that doesn't even have to do with movies specifically, but
no, but
it's
Star Wars
exciting.
Battlefront VR would
yeah,
be amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
On that note, thank you very much for joining us. Please follow us on Twitter at Moving Mind, Facebook, Moving Mind Studio, Instagram, Moving Mind Studio as well. And send us, if you have any questions that you would like to ask us, please write it in the comments section and we will try to answer it in the next episode.
And share it and tell your friends.
Yeah, share this. Share this everywhere. Share it. Share it.
Just do it, please.
Share it again.
Share it with your mama.
See you next week.